Hello world, we are recording our first game today, and today we're going to be looking, this is going to be the first day of probably several, where we're looking at a Volcanion-EX deck. You can see the list on the screen here. This isn't my deck list, this is one that I actually got from a player that's been very successful off of Reddit. He has maintained over several hundred games. About an 80% win rate, which is huge. So I thought, you know, why try to improve on what's already working well? For those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock or are new to Pokemon, the basic idea with Volcanion EX, you have a baby Volcanion, and his first attack is Power Heater, where for one energy you can do 20 damage, which isn't much, and attach an energy card to each of two Pokemon on the bench. Obviously, if you only have one energy card in the discard, then you only attach one. If you only have one Pokemon on the bench, you only attach one. But if you have two or more of each, you must do two. And like we said, 20 damage isn't much, but the Volcanion EX has a steam up attack, which you discard an energy, a fire energy from your hand, and in turn, all basic fire Pokemon attacks do 30 more damage, and this does stack. So you could potentially, if you happen to have all four Volcanion EXs out, you could add a total of 120 damage onto whatever the base damage rate is of the attack. So Baby Volcanion here could do up to 140 with this Power Heater attack and still be attaching energy. It's mostly an attack you use to attach energy, so that you can get around the one energy per turn cap. But obviously, as you steam up, you get benefits there. So the steam up discards the energy, which is how you can get from your hand to the discard pile. So it's they work really well together. Obviously, we have a Hoopa here to help get out Volcanion EXs and our Shaymin. Shaymin's there just for draw support, of course. And then that's basically it. It's pretty standard, this list. The one notable thing about the Pokemon is that it only plays two Baby Volcanions, and that's kind of unusual. A lot of times you'll see three or even four, but this is the list that our friend has gone with, and like I said, until I'm a little bit more experienced, I'm not going to question it too much. We'll expand this out, look at some of the item cards. Other notable things, I guess, are that this list plays four Float Stones instead of the typical 2 or 3, and it plays no Fighting Fury Belts. The reason for this is, as I understand it, sort of a tech against the common matchups. There's a lot of Decidueye Vileplume decks that like to Lysandre retreat heavy Pokemon and get them stuck in the active, so having extra float stones that you can attach before item lock happens is a good thing. Other than that, the other unique aspect of this deck is the Pokemon Catcher card. He's playing two of those, sort of, as I understand it, basically to help early on to sort of get a Lysandre effect without having to use a supporter. He can use that, and then with the Baby Volcanions, as he's powering up the Volcanion EXs, he can target exactly who he wants. So ideally, you can maybe take an entire knockout against like a Shaymin or something if the Pokemon Catcher card works. The only issue with this card, obviously, is that it's a coin flip, so half the time it's going to fail, which is a bit annoying, but that's how it is. That's okay. Other than that, we have standard counts of Lysandre, one Fisherman, 2 in, 1 Olympia to pull us back to the bench and heal, Pokemon Ranger to let us attack again the next turn, because the Volcanion EX's attack does 130 damage plus whatever steam up power you get, but prevents this specific Volcanion EX from attacking again the following turn. Pokemon Ranger negates that effect by removing all the effects of attacks. And then, of course, for Sycamore to draw. I won't be going over, unless the list changes, I won't go over this at all in future Volcanion videos. So, and if I do, it'll be highlighting just the changes. That said, let's go ahead and get a match. We'll flip heads because we like the look of the Litten. And of course we want to go first. Okay, well our only choice here is to start the Volcanion-EX, so we'll do that. Obviously we prefer to have the Baby Volcanion, but that's not going to be the most common thing that happens in this deck because we only play 2 of them, and that's fine. We're going to sort of look for getting other Pokemon out that we can switch into. Those float stones will be helpful for switching back and forth as well. Looks like we're playing some kind of a dark deck, although I really should have noted before we started to make sure that the box is lining up. With an Eevee, chances are good that we're going up against a Umbreon deck, which is an energy denial deck, which, you know, isn't a bad thing for us. I'm going to choose the Sycamore here, because we don't have a lot that we can play currently. Floatstone's a little tempting, but we really need to be able to get some more stuff going on. So I'll click done. And we'll Trainers Mail again. We've got an Escape Rope, we've got a Max Elixir, and we've got a Lysandre. So obviously, since we have no other Pokemon out, none of these cards really do us very much good. The Lysandre could be helpful, except that we've already got one. So we're just going to pass here. And I'm going to go ahead, since we aren't going to be able to attack even if we get a Baby Volcanion, I will attach manually here. And go ahead and play the Sycamore. So we did get the Baby Volcanion, we got a Float Stone, we got 2 Max Elixirs and a Shaymin. This was a pretty good draw. This would be almost awesome if we were actually playing against a Decidueye deck, because we could be powering up very quickly. Here we attach the Float Stone. We're going to retreat so that we can take advantage of the Max Elixirs immediately. We hit 1. I'm not playing the Shaymin or the Professor's Letter. Obviously the Professor's Letter would make us less likely to hit, and the Shaymin would not change our chances. So with that, we're looking pretty good. I will go ahead and play the Shaymin down now so that we don't potentially have an extra card to deal with next turn. Actually, yeah, because we're going to want at least 1 energy. So we aren't going to want to try to get rid of stuff. So I'll play it down now. Get the cards. Maybe we'll get another draw supporter. We get an Ultra Ball. We get another Float Stone, which I will go ahead and attach to the Baby Volcanion so that we can attack immediately next turn. And I'll just go ahead with that and pass. Chances are on the next turn we're going to want to get another Volcanion out. He's probably going to evolve the Eevee into an Umbreon. So we're not going to be able to take a knockout unless we get a draw supporter. What we can do if we do get a draw supporter and he has no other Pokemon out, we'll retreat back into the Big Volcanion, and that card is meaningless to us because we have no special energy in our deck. So we retreat into the Big Volcanion and steam up as much as we can. We could potentially steam up 3 times, which is what we would be required to do to hit the 200 number. 130 plus 90 gets us to 220. We know we can get 1, but we can't get 2. He chooses to strafe but not change the Pokemon, and we're certainly okay with that. So here we don't need the Escape Rope. We actually want his Umbreon out, And we're going to want to play the Sycamore, so Lysandre is going to get discarded anyway. I will go ahead and Ultra Ball, discarding those 2 cards. And I will get, so we want to get multiple Volcanions out. We want to steam up 3 times if possible. So we'll get the Hoopa, and we will pull in the other 2 Volcanions off of that. We don't want to pull in the Shaymin because we're going to have to Sycamore, but we are going to get enough steam ups to knock out the Umbreon, which is great. Then we'll see what our Sycamore gives us after that. So, bench both of these. Play our Professor's Letter. And then we're going to steam up all of those energies away. Play the Sycamore. And we get another Max Elixir. What else do we have? So we have Sky Field. I'm going to hold on to that because we don't really need it. The 10 extra damage will be negligible, especially since he probably isn't going to be able to attack. We'll switch in there. So what would we want to discard? If we play the Ultra Ball, we could discard the supporters. First we'll play the Trainers Mail, see what we can get there. Another Ultra Ball, another Float Stone. We'll take that, that's nice. And I'll attach it to another of our Volcanion-EXs. There's a small part of me that's tempted to play the Ultra Ball and get a Shaymin, but I think I'd rather wait. The only benefit to doing that is that we would increase our chances with Max Elixir, but I think it's worth it to just go ahead here. We do hit. That might have been a small mistake, but I think taking our chances was better off than pushing to get. We don't want to be in range of a delinquent. If it happens, now we're going to go ahead and take our knockout. Now we're also sort of ready for next hand. We're not going to be in danger of running into any real trouble. We draw into another Fire Energy. That's nice. I do believe we've played all our Max. No, we have 1 more Max Elixir. But we can't obviously count on that. He's attached a DC to the Shaymin, so he's looking to Sky Return this turn. That's kind of interesting, because that could leave him with very little on the bench. So if he Sky Returns, Silent Lab, and that makes us happy that we held on to our Sky Field. So we'll obviously just get rid of that next turn. We won't have any problems resulting from it. We did have a Fisherman that we discarded earlier, so we can steam up and then use the VS Seeker to get the Fisherman, and potentially steam up 2 more times and still attach an energy to the baby, which would get us a total of 110 damage. It should be enough to knock out whatever he has in the active. We won't steam up any more than we have to do. So, and we once again get a Max Elixir. So first off, we're going to play our Sky Field. Just get rid of that pesky can't steam up issue. I don't know why this. Oh, the tool has no effect. Oh, because of this. Well, that's good to note. I'm going to go ahead and play this Max Elixir. We do hit. Again, you could make an argument that we should have waited. I'm going to attach to this Volcanion, and we had talked about doing a Fisherman, but since we can't attack and we can't retreat because of that ability, I think I want to actually play an Olympia. Do I? I'm torn between playing Olympia here to pull back. Well, we can attack here. We'll have two Volcanions. Yeah, I'm going to attach here, play Olympia, and then come out with our big Volcanion and do a massive overkill on Eevee. We can still steam up again next time if we need to. We can manually retreat, and we get a concede from our opponent. So that worked out. We also would have had the ability to via Seeker for that Olympia again, obviously, if that was going to be enough to get the knockouts. So went pretty well. That was a pretty easy match. We weren't really against a very strong deck. Just Umbreons with Tauros GX, and then this Bayonet that's there to prevent tools. That does hurt our deck since we have a lot more tools as ways of retreating than we do item cards, but it's still we were able to just steamroll and tear through that deck pretty nicely. I guess the Yveltal is there. Oh, it's a Fright Knight. They really don't like tool cards. Anyway, that was our first match. The only real question I have there is that play we had in the middle. We'll go ahead and I guess we'll do one more match real quick. See if we can have some more questionable areas for us, or maybe we can just show that we're playing Volcanion almost optimally. That was a joke. Again, flipping heads. Sometimes I go back and forth, and I find that often if I go back and forth, flip heads, then tails, heads, then tails, I feel like I have a better chance of just pulling through. Our opponent's going to take a mulligan. We're probably against Quad Lapras, which is a painful thing. Obviously, we don't want to bench the Hoopa now. So Quad Lapras is a bit of a pain for us because we're obviously weak to water, but we do have speed on our side, and they're knocking off an energy or two here or there isn't that painful to us since we have lots of energy acceleration methods. I'm just going to start clicking done. We haven't seen any cards that indicate lots of disruption, so if this is a Quad Lapras with no disruption, that could be a good thing for us as well. Again, we don't want to bench the Hoopa. Oh! Okay, so it's not Quad Lapras. We're playing against Greninja. This could go very well. We're going to be going second, which means we don't want to attach to a Volcanion-EX. He plays it in, gets rid of all of our fun cards. With all those energies out there, we probably would have been able to take a knockout on the Talonflame if we could find a baby. But we don't. We get an Ultra Ball and another Ultra Ball, as well as a Sycamore. So here I think we're going to Ultra Ball, and we're going to get rid of the other Ultra Ball and the energy. We're probably going to end up playing the Sycamore, unless something goes crazy, so we wouldn't have the energy anyway. Again, we don't want to attach to the primary Volcanion. So we're going to Hoopa, and we're going to get the fun combo of one Shaymin and two Volcanion-EXs. Looks like our fourth is prized. We have 8 energies, 9 on the discard, so 3 are prized. And looks like 1 Float Stone is prized. Okay. So I kind of wonder sometimes whether it's best. I know this time we're trying to go for a KO on Talonflame, so it was pretty clear. But sometimes I wonder whether it's best to get lots of Volcanions out or to get a couple of Shaymin out. I go back and forth on that. Now we're going to play the Sky Field, and we'll play the Shaymin. Because obviously, if we had gotten another Shaymin, we would potentially had an extra sort of round of cards there. Okay, we have Float Stone. We'll attach that to the active, and go ahead, steam up once. Play a Trainers Mail. What do we get? So we have the Professor's Letter, which we could go ahead and play that and get 2 more steam ups in. And then we have Float Stone, Max Elixir. All kind of good cards. Since we're trying to go for that KO, I'm going to play the Professor's Letter, but I think this is really close. Unfortunately, we did pull a VS Seeker. So we'll be discarding that, which we don't, isn't ideal. So I did that. There's an argument that I should have done the Max Elixir, because if it had hit, and then we did 1 manual attachment, we wouldn't even have to get a Baby Volcanion to get the knockout. So maybe that was a mistake as well. But it does look like we're there. So we got the 3, which adds 90. It just adds 90 to our 20. That's only 110. So we're not there. Okay, before I attach, I'm going to play Trainer's Mail. I was hoping we would find a Max Elixir. With that, we didn't. So I could Shaymin, try and get the Max Elixir, but it's not really likely to happen. I'll just go ahead, go for the manual attachment. We'll go for a large damage on the Talonflame, but not an actual KO. And so we will Power Heater for 20. And attach there. And now looking back, I think that was a mistake. I think we should have, instead of grabbing the Professor's Letter and going for the steam ups, I did the math wrong. I think we should have probably grabbed the Max Elixir and hoped we could have gotten there. But it's really not likely to be too big of an issue, because we're going to get a KO on the Talonflame this turn, and our opponent will just have a Froakie evolved into a Frogadier, so he'll get his Frogadiers off potentially. The one thing we can do, we can play. Okay, so if we replace the stadium, play Sky Field, and then Escape Rope. Okay, well, concession is good too. What I was thinking was we could play the Sky Field to replace the stadium, play the Escape Rope to get Volcanion out, and then his Frogadier would be out front. We could then play the inn, get rid of the cards that he just sought out, and then play our Shaymin, really digging for that final energy to let our powered up Volcanion go and kill the Froakie. Didn't end up mattering. So I think the one mistake there might have been not getting the Max Elixir. But I welcome your input. If you like the way I played it, that's great too. And I guess let's go ahead and do one final match here. Okay, we're against a grass deck. So this could be Vileplume. We see a Beedrill coin, so it could be Beedrill. Beedrill has the fun effect of discarding tools. But at least we are hitting for weakness. We had a mulligan. And another one. And another one. And we start Shaymin. Okay. Not ideal, obviously, but it happens. We've had 2 reasonable starts, so it's probably about time that we have a bad start. And now our opponent gets to look at 3 extra cards, and we get another Shaymin. Well, okay. So we're going first? For some reason I was thinking they were going first, but I guess not. So, Ultra Ball, I'm not sure what we're going to want to discard here. Obviously not the Float Stone, not the Max Elixir. Could discard the Trainer's Mail. Could discard the Energy. Get into the discard. I guess we'll do that. So hold on to the VS Seeker. I'm a little torn between which of... So this is easy. I'm a little torn between these 2. But I think I will discard the Trainer's Mail. The only benefit to doing the VS would have been that we would have been able to go ahead and actually play the 1 extra card by playing the Trainer's Mail, potentially. So obviously we're getting the Hoopa, we're going to get 3 Volcanion-EXs with it. Glancing, looks like we prized 1 energy, and I'm not sure what else is missing here. I guess 1 Sycamore. Maybe a Pokemon catcher? No? I don't know. 1 energy is the big thing I'm seeing. So go ahead, get Hoopa, and we'll pull in our 3 Volcanions. Nice benefit of all of these Volcanions coming out is that we're thinning the deck, so we have that much more chance of our Max Elixir hitting, especially with only prizing 1 energy. Bench everybody. We'll go ahead, play Max Elixir. It does hit. We will play that onto the first Volcanion, and I think we're going to play the Float Stone onto Shaymin. So with that, we'll bench our other Shaymin. We have no room on the bench for Baby Volcanion, which is one kind of bad thing, but hopefully we will end up getting a Sky Field at some point. I'll go ahead and I'll play the Trainer's Mail. Again, looking for that Sky Field. We didn't get it. There's obviously no point in Ultra Balling. Neither of these cards are going to matter because we're going to play the in. So we'll just take nothing. And we in. I don't want to use the letter now. And we did draw into an energy, so that's nice. So we'll play that, and we'll play the Trainer's Mail. Again, looking for that Sky Field. Perhaps I should have waited on that until next turn, because now my opponent's going to see that I have it. But I think it's still okay. So grab it, get done. I'm not going to play it down because he's just going to play a forest anyway, which is why I'm saying I should have maybe waited. But there's a good chance that my opponent is going to want to play a Sycamore to get more cards anyway. Go ahead, retreat, and then just click done. So next turn, barring anything ridiculous, we'll be able to take a knockout on whatever he has up front. We'll be able to do the Professor's Letter unless he has us item locked. That's a mistake. I should have played the letter. In my head I was thinking I would hold on to it, but since we know he's a grass deck, he's probably playing Vileplume. So we should have played that and grabbed the energy, had it in hand. He does go ahead and evolve. That's not going to matter as long as we can get an energy. Which even if we do not have items, Sycamore will probably draw us into. So far we haven't seen any of the Vileplume line, which is certainly a good thing for us. It's almost halfway through his deck, so not seeing any evidence of a plume yet could be very, very nice. I'm a little torn between thinking we want to, I guess we want to get rid of the Alluring Stress, even though I think I've played a deck similar to this, and I'm pretty sure that they're ultimately going for a, he's pulling energy out to put onto the Mega the Beedrill that he's going to try to turn into a Mega. Okay, I'm going to play the Max Elixir first before I do the Professor's Letter, and we want to attach that to this Volcanion. Play the letter. I'm just going to grab one energy because we don't have a Baby Volcanion out currently, so we don't know that we're going to end up going down that route this game, and so I'm not sure that we want to discard it. I'd rather keep it in the deck for now. We just grab the one. We aren't. I guess I should know too. We don't need to steam up for the knockout, so we'll go ahead, play a Sky Field. Our opponent has 6 cards, but I still think Sycamore is better than N. So we'll play that. And note that he didn't attach a Mega Beedrill Spirit Link. So we now have a Baby Volcanion. We have, how many energies now? Just the one. So we can make use of him in a little while. Chances are, if our opponent gets the Mega Beedrill out, that'll hurt us. We're going to Max Elixir and miss. I'm tempted a little bit to Ultra Ball for another Volcanion or a Baby, just so that when he replaces our stadium, we can get rid of, I guess, probably this Shaymin. Well, I guess we could get rid of both Shaymins, or the Hoopa. Maybe the Hoopa would be better. So like I say, I'm tempted, but I don't really think it's worth it. We don't want to play this because we only have one energy in the discard, and like I said, we don't need to steam up. I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and take the knockout. We get our prized energy. We were prizing an Ultra Ball. So if he gets the Spirit Link here, if he has a draw support, he probably does. If he gets it, then he will turn into Mega. Okay, so he did replace our stadium as we expected, but we got to trade a used up Shaymin for a Baby Volcanion. That'll be nice for us. He is attached to Float Stone, and now he is playing an in. Good for him. Hopefully he doesn't get both Spirit Link and Mega Beedrill, because that will basically be a knockout unless we can draw into our Escape Rope, which I don't think we've discarded yet. I wonder if that was prized. Oh, and he sends up Shaymin. So he does get the Mega Beedrill, but he doesn't want to use it. He's thinking that we have no way to attack this turn, I guess. So I'm torn here between whether we attach to the Baby or to the big guy here. Obviously, this guy's not going to be able to attack. So the question is, which way do we want to go? And I think the answer is attached to the Baby so that we can get off an attack there. which means we'll steam up as well. And then we'll play our Sycamore. The other option, there's no reason that we would have wanted to play the Ultra Ball and discard the energy that way. So play the Sycamore. And what do we see? We're really hoping for a Float Stone there. We only have one out. We have a Ranger down there, but obviously that doesn't help us. So now we can, I guess we will retreat and lose the energy, but we'll be able to steam up 2 more times, get the 110, knock out the Shaymin. And then we just need to take 1 knockout, and we will have the energy out to do it. Attach here. We'll attach the one with no damage. And now, oh, we even have the Olympia, so no matter what happens, we are going to take a knockout next turn. Question is whether we get 1 prize off of it or 2. Okay, so he attacked the Baby Volcanion, hit it for 40 plus 40 from the Mega Poison, and we're gonna win. So we just attach here, play the Olympia, send up our powered up Volcanion, and we are done. That was a much easier game than I expected, since it wasn't actually against a Vileplume deck. So 3 fairly easy games. Sometimes you're lucky that way. With that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up for today. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.